What do you guys want to get out of this session?
I want to remove a lot of the subconscious blocks that have stopped me from building my personal brand as a reflection of who I am and the skill set that I do have within the field of high-ticket sales.
Really develop a vision for the next 6 months and just really solidify who I want to be.
And I want to position myself as an authority where people get on these calls and they know what to expect of who I am.
For me, it's it's just developed so much over the last, I want to say 6-7 months. It's taken multiple turns. I just need to put it down into crystal clear vision and start aligning with that identity. So, the next stage of growth is rapid.
We're going to go through today exactly what limiting beliefs are holding you back from entering the inflection point, the quantum leap that you need to get in order to reach the impact, the income, and the freedom within your business. That is the next actionable move. The one thing that you're delaying or you're not currently doing enough at volume to get to where you want to go. Then after that, we're going to help you to get into the subconscious frame of mind that helps you tackle this outside of the room. And then we'll give you the toolbox to get that done. How does it feel?
Fucking electric.
Feel calm, very calm.
Yeah. Sick stuff.
Done.
Alex Archives Life.
Wonderful, bro.
Pleasure.
Fucking pleasure.
Crazy shit. Let's go.
Bro, who would have thought, a fucking meditation session with me
In
and Moksh?
London, fucking Paddington.
Yeah.
Welcome in, guys.
Thank you.
Awesome.
It's a pleasure being here.
Yeah.
With you guys, with you fucking killers in London and spending, the afternoon together and oversee this session. So yeah, pleasure being here, man.
Yeah, man. We are very well tailored and we're very well energized with enough Italian food now to get this going.
100%.
So,
Finito.
what do you guys want to get out of this session?
Start with you.
I think for me, I want to remove a lot of the subconscious blocks that have stopped me from building my personal brand as a reflection of who I am and the skill set that I do have within the field of high-ticket sales.
Cool.
And yeah, let's start with that and then.
Go ahead.
Really develop a vision for the next 6 months and just really solidify who I want to be. Because when you know exactly who you want to be, it's easier to progress towards it versus when you don't have clarity, you're kind of just, operating on reaction mode than, creation mode. And I want to get into more creation mode.
Awesome. And what do you guys think is predominantly missing from your personal brand and your vision?
For me, it has to be being an authority within my niche. When I hop on calls with people who want to pitch me their B2B services to help scale my business, they always come with the frame of, this is just some sort of appointment setting coach, right? And then by the end of the call, I get the impression they're quite shocked in terms of the knowledge I have within the industry. And I want to position myself as an authority where people get on these calls and they know what to expect of who I am.
Awesome.
And for me, it's there's been so many so I had an idea of what I wanted to do by the end of the year, at the start of the year, but it's just developed so much over the last, I want to say 6-7 months. It's taken multiple turns, but now that we're in the second half of the year, I know exactly what direction I want to move towards. I just need to put it down into crystal clear vision and start aligning with that identity. So, the next stage of growth is rapid in that direction.
Awesome. And when did you guys realize within the current timeline we're living in now, the last 2 to 3 months, that your authority was what you needed to focus on and crystallizing it in a full 6-month vision timeline? When did you realize what event triggered that as an issue in your mind?
For me, specifically, it was when I started noticing that my business was heavily reliant on referral. My testimonials will speak for themselves. And I don't feel like that is translated onto a colder audience versus people that have some sort of connection with pre-existing clients.
And for me, I want to say June was when I had a massive, I want to say burnout, and a bunch of events coming together where I just basically lost a whole, love for the game, fully fully burnt out. That's when I was now it's time to start moving towards the identity of the version that I want to be. And then over time, over the last month and a half, those are the steps I've taken, and I would say I've made good progress so far. And I just can't wait to sort of accelerate that growth moving forward and build on the foundation that I've put together over the last month and a half.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And by contrast to the experience that you've had in the last 3 months, how would you say the people around you and your team, or the people who hop on your calls, or anyone who's interacted with you in the past 3 months, how would they describe you now if you were to take an objective, not personalized lens to it?
Good question. I feel like if we break it down to what my clients would say about me, they would say of someone that's probably had a profound impact on their lives through being able to scale a remote income with high ticket sales. If you ask people that I've worked with, likes of you and other coaches in the space, someone that's very motivated to achieve this 2.0 identity that I'm striving towards, I just have to build those actions and break through those limiting beliefs in order to actually tap into that self.
Awesome. Cool. So we've got actions and beliefs in between you and what other people perceive you as, or continuing to get that message across within your personal brand. And what do you feel like people describe you as by contrast to what you've been going through and what you feel like you've gone through with the burnout phase into needing that new vision to continue onwards to a new identity? What do people describe you as?
People will now, like if I was to look at it as from an objective lens, people will definitely say that I've become a lot calmer, become a lot more sort of, zoomed out from the operation of taking more sort of strategic moves, making the right decisions at the right time. And they see that an inflection point is coming through and they trust the vision. That's what I see.
Would they describe you the same during your burnout section in June?
No, they wouldn't have.
Why?
They would have just thought that I'm going crazy or something.
Yeah. What would you describe that craziness as? Where did that stem from?
It stemmed from having a couple of team members that were not aligned. It would also stem, and that's again external blame, but I would also say from an internal standpoint, there was not enough regulation in my life. I wasn't spending enough time in meditation, creating the vision of the person I wanted to be. And also I was focusing on a lot of the wrong things on a day-to-day basis that I needed to work on. I was focusing on the tiny things rather than the highest leverage moves. And so I needed to make sure that, the tiny things were taken care of so I can focus on the highest leverage moves in my business. And I also want to say a lot of hard conversations, difficult conversations that were, initiated because of that phase that needed to be had had not been had yet. And also I was sort of, drinking and partying quite a bit back then, which again, I've stopped now and that's a move in the right direction. But yeah, that was also part of it.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot that you can draw from that experience to energize and rewrite in this period of time. So I want you to think about both of you. There are other people's perceptions of you as a narrative that your ego will use against you. So it will be elements of people who were commenting on the fact that you weren't at your highest health potential, or you weren't fully on top of things, you were all over the place, you were crazy about other things. That's going to start to run your narrative and start to impact you in the present moment. You might take yourself back to this version of you. This is our 1.0 version of you. Ask yesterday. And we already have a good idea with Moksh specifically of your traits yesterday, but the more and quicker we can outline these in real time, the quicker we can leave them behind. So for people who pop on your sales calls and they show that you've helped them with such profound impact on their lives, and then there's other people who are coming onto your calls, having absolutely no idea what the space is like. They come off the calls a bit confused and all those things. They're going to start to run your narrative. So I just want you to have 2 sentences of their old concept on the world and their own concept of themselves. So Moksh's own concept about himself was that he was neglecting his health. He didn't prioritize doing the zoomed out tasks that put the business forward on a better trajectory in the long term, and also felt a bit crazy. What would you say his worldview was, for example?
I need to firefight. I need to be the person with the high stress tolerance. I'm just the go-to man for everyone in my life right now, which was kind of, draining me out then. Those were the main things.
And how did he see the world specifically? When he woke up in the morning, he was what was his worldview on?
I have to do these things rather than I get to do these things.
Have to X. And you, what would you say as an I statement, which is something that describes how they saw themselves, their self-concept, when they woke up in the morning and they were opposed to being impact and action-oriented and taking the action and removing their limiting beliefs? What was the sentence that made them, if you could describe it, see themselves in a certain light? For example, Moksh's was that I have to, fight everything. I have to go, lean into the stress. I've got to go really hard in business. And then his worldview with other stuff is everyone's fucking unreliable. None of these team members are working properly or to expectation. That's a self and a world concept. We can extrapolate this to get some really good ammo against your beliefs specifically. And also long-term vision gets clouded when you're tapping back into this version of you, because you're seeing so short term. So bull against the red cloth type of thinking where you can't zoom out for a second and work on the right thing. So what do you think as a sentence, as an I statement, would describe their version or how they saw themselves in that sense?
And are you asking me from the perspective of myself or of my clients?
Yeah, if you want to sit for like 1 minute and just think about very carefully, when you think about what your current reality is, what would you have to believe to be true for your current reality to be happening right now? For example, for me right now, sitting in this room, I have to believe that I can, go to London impromptu, film some amazing long form content with my clients, and then go back and pass it to my creative director, delegate it to get everything else done in the back end. I don't have to work on absolutely everything. That's one of my sell concepts. But my old one was that like I have to go balls to the walls at this problem until it's solved and risk my health in the process. And that sort of got me into a space where I couldn't do the actions that were necessary and I didn't have the beliefs aligned with the behaviors to get where I wanted to go. So if you could describe one sentence of how you saw yourself in this version of you, who was like rebounding to referrals and he was coming off sales calls with confused prospects, what would you have to believe to be true for that to be a thing?
I have to believe that I must outwork all sort of leverages that I'll work in my business. So for example, I have to start pushing referrals or pushing referral incentives onto existing clients in order to get more business and impact more lives. And I have to believe that personal branding is something that I'm not able to leverage at the moment.
Awesome. And I want you to think about, when I got you to think about when you realized that this was a problem, when you needed to get a clear enough vision, when you needed to get people off your sales calls who are not buying because they were confused and you needed to get referrals in. I want you to think about a memory that draws way past that, back to your childhood. When did you feel so crazy or all over the place, unregulated, that imprinted one of your earliest memories of this current self-concept? I want you to stare at this sentence that I can't leverage my personal brand. And this sentence of I need to fight. No matter how relevant these are now, they are still up here. We never really lose parts of our old selves. We just make our true selves louder. We get a higher signal and connection to them. So we need to dim the signal as much as possible by finding our first memory of this. Can you think of one example off the top of your head? It will normally come to you like a divine inspiration, and you won't say it out loud until you've really figured it out. But I want you to give your gut feeling memory. What is your first earliest memory that we can put to draw a line in the sand to get these problems solved?
When I was 15, I'd started, like a lot of people, a gaming YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And for me, that was something that I was spending all the time in the world, and I wanted to, be the biggest gaming YouTuber out there. And for me, that just simply didn't happen. I was, never pushing past 100 views. And then people in my school saw it, and, it wasn't the reflection of the branding I wanted people to perceive, if that made sense. Despite that, though, I had a bit of imposter syndrome, because I remember, funny enough, in my school awards ceremony when I was 16, I got most likely to be a YouTuber, despite the fact that was just down to the fact I created a YouTube channel, but not necessarily saw the results I wanted from it.
Definitely. And what emotion comes up when you surface that memory again?
Pride in the fact that maybe people had sort of seen the vision I wanted, but almost a bit of shame in the fact that I couldn't achieve that vision.
There we go. Why did you feel shame?
Mainly down to the fact that I was so output focused that for me, when I'm not getting views, when I'm not, getting good retention on my videos in the past, I was down. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? This isn't working. I feel like I just need to work harder, I need to push harder. And just going in that, cycle of bad action.
Awesome. That's another I statement for your self-image. You have to work harder. You have to focus on the outputs. But we're going to call that your infinity statement. That will always retain itself and try to sustain itself the more that you retain that belief. So we're going to break that belief today by teaching you how, specifically with your scenario, how you can zoom in on that memory. I want you to imagine and just take this first seed of an idea of you receiving that award of, like, most likely to be a YouTuber, even if it was you in, at the very start of your day in school, whether it was like reading out all the names or specifically how the people were looking at you when you said that, the most vivid memory within that sort of like 2-day time period, I want you to pick that and let that grow in your head for a second. And Moksh, do you remember your earliest memory?
Yeah, so when I was, Meteoric was back in the day of calisthenics startup. So this was in high school, and I remember this was right before I went to uni.
Yep.
Me and my business partner at the time, who's now my best friend, we were about to go to uni, and we had like a bunch of clients, and the work was just getting so fucking mind-numbing. I didn't know how to scale.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do, right? And it was just, like I just had too much on my plate, and at that time, the way I responded to that situation was, I'm going to uni anyways, I'm going to shut this thing down. I don't think it's going to work, and I basically did that. Like I shut it down, went to uni. So that was my like memory of like being in that state, and also I was in quite a toxic relationship. So that also like added on to the stress back then. So just first memory back straight to 2021.
And what was the event? You don't have to go into specifics, but do you have an event in mind that combined with shutting down your calisthenics side of a startup and also having that relationship, what event collided those two where you felt the most vivid energy around this belief?
Yeah, it was 31st of December 2021, where there was something that, there was some argument that I had with my family, and, something personal happened in my family, and I just was like, I remember like sort of bursting into tears, and I cranked out some 50 push-ups and 50 pull-ups. I got pure frustration and anger, and I was like, yeah, fuck this shit. And then obviously I ended up like breaking up with my then girlfriend the next day, and from there on, just like, tried to like gather myself before university.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like a super high cortisol state that I was in back then. So
Yeah. So you were closing out the startup and you were closing out relationships.
Yeah.
So you would say you had a lot of time to think.
Yes.
A lot of time for those emotions to be ruminating.
100%.
Cool. Closing relationships. Okay. I want you to, by the end of this, have the best relationship with these memories, because you said these for a reason. Everything that has been ruminating in your mind will always stay there and sustain itself, and put reflections into what you focus on in your day-to-day life, help you behave in certain ways that when you get more stress, you get people on a sales call, or you start posting content, you start looking at the views, or you're looking at your team and you're realizing, I'm not really like vibing with this team member right now. The relationship isn't currently working. There's too much stress. Or you're back home with your parents. All these things will naturally come back because they are a part of your current self-concept. So I want you to essentially have the best relationship and start getting into the relationship with this by understanding emotional regulation. If you can get to a point by which your mind is so stimulated with the emotions of love, compassion, gratitude for these specific events for getting you to where you are now, then you're going to have the best results going forward. Because the thing that 99% of entrepreneurs and coaches and consultants and agency owners get wrong in this period, I'm not even just naming those, just the entire entrepreneurship online space, they do not spend enough time tackling these things. How much time have you guys spent specifically looking at this memory, or is this the first time that you specifically said it out loud?
Yeah, for me, definitely the first time I've said it out loud, but I think as I've started noticing a lot, content's very simple in terms of getting people's attention. You have to do something that will catch their attention, right? And when I am embodying this mindset of seeking validation, right, I'm not going to want to do things that might put me out there, that might, not seem like something maybe people in the past would think was good or would like to see from me. So I think, yeah, that emotion of seeking others' validation perhaps comes from the fact that when I received that award, I had that sense of pride that, yeah, people see me as a YouTuber, but then when I look at my views and my outputs from the YouTube channel itself, they obviously want that.
Makes sense. And when you're seeking other people's validation now, where does it show up in your content?
Perhaps on things like hooks, which I know would work really well, but I think, people might look at me like that's cringe or that's weird. People that don't even play an impact in my life anymore.
Why do they not play an impact in your life anymore?
Because these are perhaps, people from school back in the day, or people that I used to talk to, people that don't align with the vision that I want to achieve.
Okay, and why do you feel like you still hold on to those then?
I'm not sure, because I know very well that if you let the decisions of others dictate your life is going to go in the direction that others wanted to. And that's not necessarily where I wanted to go to. So I'm very aware it's a problem, but it's still protruding in my mind.
Which belief goes against the other? Is it the one that seeks validation first, or the one that doesn't care about what people think because it's doesn't matter if it dictates their parts of their lives? Which one is the strongest part right now? Is it that one? Or is it the one that is consistently looking at other people when they post a piece of content, or they look at the hook to see if it resonated with their ICP? All these small things, which one shows up more?
I think, probably the validation side of things, to be honest.
So this is more or less your strongest point and your perception from other people. I want you to write out I'll write it on the board as well, but a new self-concept that dictates something you can give energy to. The reason why we get you to a point of love, compassion, or focus on one of your happiest memories is to give you the ammo to rewrite this. So that it gives you back energy. These things have been secretly taking away your energy. Energy conservation, getting close to the subconscious, and working on your beliefs like they are, the gold dust, which you need to invest every bit of time into, is what's going to get you to that point. So what's currently taking away your energy, do you feel like, in a given day?
Alcohol is a big one. Sleep, sometimes when I don't shut myself in terms of getting to sleep at right time, wake up at right time, I start the day off with a loss. And obviously that affects my conviction within the actions I do throughout the day. I feel like the work I'm putting in is there though. It's just that tension against sort of the parts of my life which don't sort of step into the identity I want to achieve.
And it's that I must push referrals, like I can't leverage that. That's the tension that leads back to a lack of self-trust by doing things that you don't actually serve the identity that you want to go for. You said that isn't you, or that I don't want to do this ever again, but you do it anyway. That puts you in that self-trust, which is a deficit of energy.
And when you say things I don't want to ever do again, it's like, I know I want to post content because I know content is the highest leverage for my business, but I look at content as almost like, it's something I have to do.
Like a task for me to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah, exactly. So I want now for you to find a new self-concept that we've outlined it before, but you can do this again and again and again. We have to focus on one. This whole whiteboard is scattered with different parts of you and your old self. Now we're going to be outlining exactly what self-concept we need to energize. That would be the reality that we want. So thinking longer term vision here. Moksh, for example, what is one event in your 6-month timeline that you know you were going to hit?
Like from a win standpoint?
From a win standpoint, from beating this old self, being that calm, strategic, top of his game, very zoomed out version of him. What does he hit inevitably within the next 6 months?
From a revenue standpoint, it could be anything.
Yeah, it could be anything that means a lot to you. What's something that has the most amount of emotion tied to it?
I think it's like 2.0 version of myself, where I'm in a healthy, loving relationship that's growing, where I'm meditating on a day-to-day basis, and I'm incubating the most abundant reality for myself, where I'm hitting consistent, say like 50 to 70K months.
Yeah.
The operation's running smoothly, clients are winning. The team is something I'm genuinely proud of. Like I enjoy building with the bunch of people that I'm building with. And I'm in the best shape of my life. I have 6-pack abs, long hair. I'm dressing the way I am right now. And I'm saving up and like investing a bunch of my finances into the future that I want to build for myself, which is like wealth. So yeah.
What location are you at?
I would be in Mumbai.
Mumbai. Cool. What season is it and time of year?
In 6 months?
Yeah.
It's winters, but I mean, it's now winters in India. So like, I want to say like, 25 degrees Celsius.
Yeah. 25 degrees.
Yeah.
Relationships, thriving. And what is a milestone? It can be revenue. It's like no shading revenue. But what is a specific moment that you know you are going to hit, but holds a certain identity that you currently don't possess? There's certain keys here, which we're leaving behind this fully today. But what is this version of you inevitably going to hit? It can be revenue.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I want to say like more than revenue, it's like for your take home profits. I'm taking home like, I want to say $50,000 a month. Take home. I've got all of my finances structured in a way where I've got like credit cards for spending. I've got different accounts, and my tax structures are pretty dialed in. My accountant is working with me on like making sure that things are placed in the right way. So then from that clear head space, I'm able to make the right moves in my life, and also like pull those big levers in my business. Because once you have a corpus of like wealth saved up, like you can make risky moves. You can, invest into the next thing. You can start building IP. You can start taking crazier bets. You can start doing crazier shit, right? Like, and that's something I want to do, because when the foundation's strong, building on top of it and like multiplying it is easy, but it's just a matter of getting the foundation right.
Amazing. Cool. And Freddie, what do you think is an inevitable point in the next, however, so 3 to 6 months that you know you are going to hit once you've dialed your personal brand, once you've taken away the reliance on referrals, and you've got from needing to do things, there's a bunch of tension in between you doing the things that you need to do action-wise, and also just a general view of your life. If you had to really sit there for a minute and think about exactly what your dream life is going to look like in about 6 months' time, what would be a moment?
Next January, I want to be specifically living within some sort of snowy setting, ski resort. I want to have a chalet over there, which I'm operating my business out of.
Nice.
I want to be hitting 20K per month, which is absolutely doable with dialed in personal brand. I want to have dissociated myself a little bit from my business, start having coaches supporting operations within it. I want to start scaling up my B2B sales operations business alongside of it.
Cool. So 2 offers, lean team.
And similar to Moksh, I want to be in this position where the revenue coming in is great, the money is amazing, but I want to be in a position where I have this financial security that I can start, having riskier bets on myself.
Yeah.
Being able to play around with money a bit more. Almost that abundance mindset, but within things beyond just info products and coaching services.
Cool. Take home, similar to Moksh, equals crazier moves. Cool. Immerse yourselves in that one scenario. You're in a ski chalet right now. It's in January. You just hit 21.2K in a month. You just messaged one of your coaches so they can handle the next 3 calls left on the calendar with all your clients. And now you're focusing on where you want to put your finances next. Literally take that scenario and bulletproof it in your mind. Same with you. You're in winter, so to speak, in Mumbai. It's currently 25 degrees C. You've just stepped out onto the balcony after, your girlfriend is just
And
your new place, exactly. And you no longer have to do anything. You no longer need to firefight anything. You're walking into this calm, precise, calculated atmosphere. And your finances, you just got a text from your accountant saying, we've just allocated all your finances to account, example.
Yeah, I want to say I've got a spreadsheet in front of me that's like my net asset value. I've got all the different accounts laid out there, my portfolio laid out there, I know exactly where I stand financially.
Cool. So picture that spreadsheet, and I want you to literally sit here. This is the toolbox era. I am going to look crazy on the other side of this YouTube video, but you're both going to close your eyes. You're both going to almost tune out from the voice that you're currently hearing from me. I want you to literally repeat the first 10 seconds of that scenario like you're going crazy, like you're going through loops. But that specific scenario needs to be so vivid. Start breathing in to the feeling that you immediately get. Breathe in. Hold it. Breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. What would this version of you have to believe to be true in one statement about themselves and the way they see themselves for them to be standing where they are right now?
I am the creator of my reality.
Freddie.
I do what I want without the influence of others around me dictating it.
What world do they live in? What would they have to believe about the world that they live in and they wake up to for that above to be true?
There's infinite possibility in the world.
The only thing stopping you is you.
keep immersing yourselves in that. I want you to think about if there's a person, that specific individual that you love, trust, or know very well at this point in your life that's still there to this day. What are they doing? What clothes are they wearing? What are they saying to you in that 15-second segment as you are doing what you are doing?
I think my mom's calling me and saying that, can you make it home for your birthday? And yeah, and then I just book business class flight back home, get a gift for her, and surprise them with a nice little celebration at home. And I'm fully sober, like, you know, the party does not involve me, intoxicating myself whatsoever. And yeah, just celebrate my birthday with a deep sense of gratitude for the year that I've had.
Amazing. Imagine you're on that flight right now.
Yeah.
Freddie?
I think I'm sat with my dad. He's wearing a grey jumper. We're sat next to a ski piste. I'm buying him his red glass of wine, red wine glass, and I'm having a beer, preferably African, eating some sort of French dish on the piste and not thinking about anything other than the present.
Awesome. I want you to think about one specific emotion that you're going to use to energize this belief. It could be what you're feeling as you're speaking to your dad, or what you're feeling as you are sitting down and reclining into your chair on the flight, on that business class flight, and knowing that you're about to see your mum and that she wanted to know if you'd be able to come home, and you made that happen. You made the 20K months happen so you could sit and enjoy a house red and a beer and some French dish without having to worry about anything other than the present moment. I want you to think about that one emotion and just tell me now.
And just the sense of excitement. I want to say excitement is what I feel when I'm like operating at my highest frequency. Just excitement for everything that's ahead of me, stuff that I want to do. And I feel like that's the thing about me that I think is the differentiating factor as well from like 99% of people in the world is I'm always plotting the next thing. So if I'm like there sitting there like in the flight, I'm definitely going to be sketching out the next stage of my life and thinking about things that I'm going to be doing during the New Year's and shit that I'm going to be like, you know, doing next, excitement, etc., etc. So just, you know, plotting the next move. That's what I'll be doing on that flight.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. And Freddie?
For me, a sense of surrealism, almost like a leaning back in your chair saying, holy shit, I've done it sort of feeling.
Surreal elation, let's call it, or state of gratitude, would you say?
To an extent, the surreal elation is probably more so.
Okay. So now you have this memory. I want you to think about this obsessively for the next 6 months, specifically with Moksh. Leading up to everything that you will achieve, this will be your statement piece. This will be the thing that you will always come back to. I know you sketch things out when you wake up. This is going to be the one thing that you're going to detail every single part of that room, of that business class flight, of that monitor with the dashboard on. The dashboard you end up building, the life you end up leading, the ski trip you end up going on, the jumper that your dad ends up wearing that you hand to him. Because you've sketched out this vision so much, you're going to be drawing that surreal elation. You're going to be drawing that excitement like it's an infinite source, because it is. There is an opposing infinity of you not being able to work on the right things in your business and push anything other than referrals and really level up your personal brand because you're not feeling that surreal elation enough to draw you closer to that belief that you don't need, away from that, you can't leverage your personal brand, but more towards, I do what I want without others dictating my actions. And the only thing stopping you is you. That is where you get to after pinpointing that emotion and really immersing yourself in it. And with Moksh, you are the creator of your reality only when you are the most excited about plotting out the next steps. When your mum calls you, book those flights, and you hop on knowing that whatever you're about to achieve right now is the most exciting part of your next part of life. 50K take home, Mumbai, 25 degrees C, relationships thriving, healthy. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to firefight. You're sat on the piece knowing you don't have anyone else dictating your actions. You've got a coach handling you the rest of your calls for the day. That is where you will draw your surreal elation and, for Moksh, your excitement. Do you guys know how to tap into this identity and this emotion currently?
Yeah, by just vividly like visualizing it.
Do you have a framework by which you do that, or do you just know?
Yeah, so I start by like completely relaxing myself in the chair, feeling my feet hit the ground, my hands on my lap, and just like breathing like just in the moment. Then I go back into my past. I see through winning memories, whether it's hitting a record month, it's sending Alex an archive back in November last year, whether it's closing off the last month on a high with the team and taking that team call on the first this month. That maybe it's me finishing the marathon and feeling like fuck, like I did it. I just go back here those winning memories, and that just makes me like grin a little bit, and then I take that same frame and I visualize the future with that same emotion. So that's how I visualize.
Awesome. And Freddie?
To be absolutely honest, I don't. I feel like for me, I've tried to meditate inconsistently, albeit, and I have struggled to sort of tap into that emotion previously.
Okay, cool. So the fundamental aspect that a lot of people get wrong with this, and that Moksh is quite good at, in when he focuses on his winning memories from the past and focuses on the one that he's drawing any energy from in the future, is relaxation. I want you to think about now, when is the last time that you truly felt fully relaxed in your body? And use that as muscle memory to dictate this next process, which is feeling the weight go from your feet, go into your calves, relax your quads, your legs, moving up into your torso and your arms. One by one, relax each muscle. The fundamentals is purely physical. You need to let your body lead the mind. And this is such an important section. One limb or muscle at a time. Once you've sat in the silence, and your mind will drift when you haven't done this a lot. Your mind will drift and try to take you away, but I just want you to bring your attention back to one example of one limb that is currently relaxed. The tension in your neck is gone. Your arms are now placed correctly and nice and even on your lap. You can feel that when you breathe, your neck is upright. You can feel your spine with less tension than it had 5 minutes ago. That brings you back to a position to just focus on breathing. The only thing that you really need to be moving in this section, everything else will feel still. This will get you closer to theta brainwaves, a slower rate of vibration in the brain that allows you to slow down and control your thoughts. With this newfound control, picture the winning memory that opposes the one that has your old self within it, the one that is currently sabotaging you in the present. There is also adjacent winning memories that have got you to where you are today. Outline these in one 15-second movie-like memory recall exercise. Because when you have this memory that you've replayed, you can tap into that feeling knowing you are relaxed enough to get that feeling back. Find that one memory and repeat it as many times as it takes whilst you are relaxed. The way I like to track this is I have an input tracker every day. I do my daily declaration and my morning intentions. I read out my identity sheet, which is all of the self-concepts which I'll send to you after this. You'll read this every morning. That is your prompt to do this meditation. You don't start work until you've done this. That is your punishment for not doing it, is you won't be able to physically work because your mind will attribute relaxation, winning, and future intentions to being anchored in the intentions of your work that you're about to do for the day. And once you've got that habit, even 2 days in, for those who do have it, you will have the skill of being able to tap into future memories, future mental pictures, the ones we just described within your new self-concept, your new world concept. You have to vividly picture this for the next 15 seconds as well. What you're wearing, what the environment is, what the wind feels like, what the people around you look like, what's happening in the room itself. Picture that. And then I want you to ask yourselves 3 questions. Or not 3 questions, just the 2. What would I have to be true? What would I have to believe to be true about myself and the world consistently? To instill this subconsciously into your brain that you have the beliefs, you're working on the beliefs, you're not leaving anything on the table, you are becoming this person now who holds these beliefs. This is where you start to energize what we've outlined today. to form self and world concepts conducive with the outcome that you want. You do this enough, you'll start to move differently, you'll behave on sales calls differently, you'll post massive amount of content that reach the audience that you want, you'll leverage your personal brand like no other. You'll be able to walk into any room and people will feel the calm, strategic nature. You just walked off the runway, off of the plane, that you're about to go see your mum. All of these things will come about from this self and world concept, that the more you energize, the more you see. And the way that you change what you see in the world is by changing what you see about yourself and the world you live. Change what you see, and what you see will change. And this is going to be one hell of a next season. And I would like for you to track every time that you do this meditation and reward yourself for doing so by getting straight into the work necessary. Open your eyes. Relax. Winning memories, future pace, instill new self-promote concepts. Do this every day for the next 30 days, and I can guarantee your 6-month vision will be plotted out in clear clarity. I'll have a Mario board being sent over to me later, and I'll have a voice note from you just on everything that you've now uncovered about yourself and the world. It's all memories. It's all subconscious energy you can give back to yourself.
Beautiful.
How does it feel?
Fucking electric.
Still calm. Very calm.
Awesome. Do you want to do that again?
Yeah, I want to do that again.
Awesome.
Unbelievable.
Fuck yeah. It's been Alice Archives Life, and I thank you for watching. There's a link in the description to do this for yourself, and I'll catch you guys in a bit. Peace out.
Fuck yeah.
Peace.
So